So thanks for coming around today, Sean. The question has been raised about load testing and how we load test, and why that's a useful tool for us when we're assessing a tree. And it could be assessing it for risk, or it could be assessing it for access and work.
Correct, yep.
And in fact, if you're accessing and working in a tree, you're probably putting greater loads on a tree than
Absolutely.
the wind would normally be, particularly if we're talking about something like a dead tree. So one of the easiest ways to do a load test is just to simply go and do a push. Now, you should have a helmet on.
Should do,
Sean.
especially putting one with
Something could come off, so I'll let you go and get a hard hat, and we'll get on with it.
Push, so we can get it to move, assessing the ground level, that soil movement, so I'm happy with that, and saying that that's not a risk of coming down anytime soon.
Now, but it's these moving branches above that makes you want to put the hard hat on, so keep your ears open and pay attention. You can see that they do move a bit, and if there's one there that's a bit brittle, it can come down, so important to keep your hard hat on. On the other hand, Sean, let's come across and give this one a test. This one looks a lot worse.
So yeah, sort of a lot of base with the cave. Look up, see what's going to come down.
Not a lot up there. Not a lot of wind area that would have it be a problem. Give it a push.
I can see movement in the ground.
Yeah, you can see movement at the ground there. Can you push it over? It's actually going to fail above. And you can see that there. Yeah, this tree is a tree that needs to be removed. You can hear that cracking at that spot. We could put a rope on that and pull that down, but that's another way we can load test, is actually to put a rope on something. So let's set a rope up and see what we get. So Sean, we've set up a line, and you can see all we've used is a bit of builder string line and a Coke or a Pepsi bottle with a little bit of water in just as a weight, something that's not going to do much damage or hurt anyone if it happens to go the wrong way. We've put our rope up the tree. Now, if we were climbing this tree, we'd want to know that it was reasonably secure, and so Sean's going to give it a pull, but he's going to get back far enough to make sure that he's not going to get impacted in the event that it comes down. And loading it, Sean, some smaller branches going, and there is some movement now down at the ground. There'd be a tree that you'd be a little bit more cautious of working in, but with all that load, he's not making it break, so as long as he wasn't doing any heavy rigging, he'd probably get away with climbing this tree. We're going to fill this tree in a few seconds and then try a load test on that final tree. So just to give you an idea, we've done the scarf and most of the back cut on this. This just gives you the idea of how much strength wood actually has in it. Try and break it, Sean. So one person pulling on it. Now Sean's a bit on the light side, so I'll go give him a hand and we'll see if we can break it. We could cut it more, but it just shows you how incredibly strong things are. We often underestimate. This, of course, is grey box, and it's a very durable timber. Something like Eucalyptus nicolai, you're going to be a little bit more suspicious. Now, because we knew that these trees were going to come down, we've just simply tied a running bowline up. But if you were doing a load test normally, you'd have both ends of the rope, either one end tied down low, or you'd have both ends in your hand so that you're able to retrieve your rope. We're going to retrieve this, of course, by breaking it. Okay, so here we are. We're more than 45 degrees back on the angle of our rope. We're more than the height of the tree away, plus another half. Got our hard hats on. We're just going to give this tree a good solid pull. And you can see, still even with climbing, and we know it's breaking the middle there, there's a lot of effort still taken. So that wasn't a tree that was going to fall over in winds, but it would have fallen over if we were working or climbing on it. So there's a situation where you'd either need to rig out of another tree nearby, or do what we've done, or get in something like an elevated work platform. So we've taken our trees and we've put them on the ground, and indeed that second one did snap, and I'll show you that in a few seconds. Yep. But these are the sort of very primitive ways of testing. You can go to other ways of load testing. And it's probably more appropriate, not if it's a tree that inevitably is going to come down anyhow, but if it's a bigger tree and it's got some structural issues and there's concerns about it, you've given it a pull with a rope and you're still not quite sure, particularly about stability of the whole tree, then there are other things we can do. What are they?
Static pull testing is one, and dynamic testing would be the other.
So we can get some pretty sophisticated equipment that gives us good, quantifiable, tangible data that allows us to make decisions that are well-founded. So there's not just a need to panic. Just because a tree has some factor that increases its likelihood of failure doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to fail. In fact,
let's get some more information first.
Yeah, most trees have some factor that would lead to an increased failure, and yet the risk of harm from trees is incredibly small. And just to let you see, that one tree over there did in fact snap off where we saw it cracking just with the push test. So the push test was sufficient to give us some information. We don't have to go to this pulling hard process. Simple testing, very, very easy to do.